we wouldn't put that there. So we.
So the hand
rapid fire.
positioning is the inside hand on the number and the
Right.
outside hand on the hip?
We'd like for that hand, if he's releasing in here, I'd like to get that, I wanna get here, so sometime I kinda wanna grab and pull myself around and get that trail. So we try to do that, if they get that, you know, but that's kind of a thing we try to strive for. So I would take corners and we'd work, first we'd work that shuffle and catch, and then get in position. Then I'd work on an outside release where you know I'm here and then releasing, I shuffle, and now I've got to stick my butt into him, and I've got to start feeling with my hands and my eyes. I've got to stay back on the guy with the ball, the quarterback, whoever, or number two, whatever, and now I'm gonna get in that trail position, but I've got to get in it feeling for him with my hands. I've got to feel it. If I'm in that position, my butt's to him, and he makes an outcut, I've got to feel it with my hands. You know.
So kind of almost running backwards, just feeling
It
for it.
is. I mean, and it's awkward for those kids.
So you want to start them at 50% and start them, get their technique down and move it a little bit faster.
Yeah. I mean, we try to break it down in just little segments.
And are you telling them it's going to be an outside release?
Yeah. When we first start, we're telling them it's an outside release, so they know it. And even then, they're going to catch, and that guy's still working hard, and here they go. You know, and there's number two back here. I can't see him. And so, do it again, we're doing it again. So I want them to know it first, so at least they get a feel for it, sticking that butt into them, and getting a feel for feeling of that receiver, and running with it like that. So we do that. Then we'll put a receiver and not tell them. Is it releasing inside or outside or straight up or whatever? And now you catch him, and now you got to put those things we've been working together, working on, put them all together, and you get that. So you doing that over and over. All right, but now we want to bring number two in. We still don't have a safety out there, but we want now the corner to catch number one, and now we've really got a number two, and I may send both of them deep. If that's the case, then I want him to be in that underneath trail position the whole way. Or I may send number two on a drive route across the field, you know. And so immediately he knows that I'm going to stay on that trail, you know. Then we'll break him out. I catch, I start in the trail, oh here it comes, then I settle, and I start telling them, coaching the things that they start looking at their eyes. Are their eyes looking at you, or are their eyes looking back? And I'd tell that receiver, I'd say, you know, and we had hand signals for all our routes, and so we could rapid fire this thing. You know, that was dig route, and if we wanted to go route, it would just hang loose and go, you know, and out route, you know, here's the ball, I won't
How close to
5 yard
full
out.
speed did you want this?
At first, probably about 3/4, until they're getting a feel for it. Then, once we feel like they've got the idea, now let's get game, like, you know.
How much of the field would you use for this drill?
I'm probably using a fourth of the field, you know, with that. And on the other side, the safeties, they'd be on that other side, probably doing that Tennessee hash drill, you know, where they're over there learning to backpedal, learning to read that quarterback, learning how to break off that ball. While the corners are working, those safeties they may be working on backpedal, you know, turn the hips. I've got to run. Now I've got a quarterback's his hands off, and I've got a speed turn and come around and get, you know, all that kind of stuff. So while corners are working, safeties are working at the same time, doing all that. But the corner, then we're gonna get number one and number two, and we're gonna work, you know, that reading number two. Of course, we're gonna make an outcut on him and the whole bit. So it's just a progression, a slow progression of trying to learn what they're doing. Then we may take the left corner and maybe the Raider, you know, today. And we're gonna put 1 and 2 out here. And now we're gonna work combination, you know. Are they both going vertical? And sometime we'd even get those outside backers with this, so they could, they may be, while we're doing those corner stuff, they may be over there working, you know, walling off, all the stuff that they did. And now we may add them into the mix with number one, number two, and let them try to wall off. I may give him a crossing route, you know, at about 2 yards cross, or you run the go, you know, or you run a, you know, this was a post route. I said, well, we're gonna go post at 12. You know, I mean, so we start flashing those, and now we start letting the corner, safety, and that inside backer type guy working only on 1 and 2, you know, and they're working on if number 2 comes out, then that backer's screaming out, that corner, and you know, he knows now I'm coming off of my catch and ride, I'm coming off and I'm looking for that safety now to break into number 1 receiver, and now we may curl 1. That was the big thing we would try to do is you know, if we would curl 1, we'd break him out, and we want to see if as he starts to wall off and he breaks an out cut, he's over the top, we want to get him to that route. So we would do those combinations. A curl might be a dig route, might be a post route, or whatever. We might work double goes with these guys, because I want to see if this guy's catching and is he getting an underneath position, you know, like the corner is. Let the safety. So it's all the stuff that they would see in a game without number 3 yet. And so we would work that. Then when we felt like we're pretty good at that, then we'd bring in the mic and we'd bring in a back. And some of the time we would just sit and block him, and then we'd just do whatever. But then the other time we'd bring him out, and now he's got to start hollering 3 out, 3 out, 3 out. He's communicating to him. He's got it now. He knows he's coming off to pick up 3 out. He knows now we may run that same curl, you know, or whatever. Excuse me. Now that's a point right here. This is one that's good, because now Mike's coming off and he's gonna run underneath. Let's see if that corner now is playing good under coverage with that, and making sure that he can handle that curl. So all those combinations, we slowly start building it in, and to a point that, and while we're doing that with a mic, the other guy may be over here with another receiver, you know, corner, and a bandit and a free safety. They may have 2, and they're doing the same thing, only we've told bandit that 3 is gone. So now we start trying to work on see if he can really wall off. And if he can't get that guy, then he's got to run with him.
Yeah, so you're telling him if that 2 goes across and you know 3's gone, you've got him.
You've got him. You've got him.
So your cover 2 is basically a man.
That's right. You know, with zone, you know, with help. So, and then the next day we'd switch it. We'd bring the back over here to this side, and now we're telling Will the same thing over here. Three's gone. He's known now. You've got to work that same thing, and the corner and the safety are still working the same thing they've been working, and you just do it over and especially right now, or this time, you know, boy, really about March, boy, during that athletic period, after we had done a little bit of jelly stuff, man, we started working the crap out of this stuff.
Did you work it with quarter stuff also?
Yeah.
And your other checks?
Then
too?
once we felt good with cover two, once we felt like we've got a real good feel, that they understand cover two, all right, now we're gonna take the same approach. I'm gonna take one receiver in those corners, and the other coach is gonna take those two safeties, and they're gonna work on, is two going vertical? If he does, I've gotta get him in position to cover the guy. You know, then once we get that, and over here we work on, you know, click and bail, and now I've gotta stay outside and on top of, and we work all kind of routes, but he's gotta stay on top, you know, stay on top. Once we do that, then we'll bring the safety and two receivers in the corner.
Coach, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have a question on that.
Okay.
Like, most of the time, people say, you know, take away the inside routes,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
are the easy ones to
Right.
complete. What's the reasoning behind playing outside and on top? Because
Well-
you'd think that it's kind of like taken away from what most people want to do.
It does. One thing is, when you're outside and on top, your eyes are still, I can still look back inside. If I get in here and run, my back is to everything. So we want that, but we think most of the time, we're gonna get a safety help, a lot of the time. Very seldom do they run two receivers, just take off. I mean, if somebody's trying to go, then they go, but usually they're running some kind of route combination. So if this guy doesn't go vertical, if he goes inside or he goes outside, now we bring the corner and the safety, and we may even put Bandit in there, because now he's gonna try to collision and he works for that. But here's the big deal. Now we're gonna work on all these inside routes. That one, the dig, the post, the curl, and we want that free safety to be able to take that, to inherit this one and run underneath with it, to read the post route and run the route and get under it. And that corner's gonna always stay on top of whatever that route is. And these dig routes, he's gotta really haul ass. I mean, he's gonna be out of position. But we tell him, you just keep on keeping on, because that ball, that undercover may bounce, you know, it may tip off to you. You get there, you know. So the same progression, we start slowly, and then start building in. I will tell you, cover four is a lot easier, quicker teach than cover two. I mean, they jump on this stuff really fast. And then we teach every time they come out two receivers and cover four, we're making that bench alert. We're making a bench alert. Sometime we're gonna give the bench, sometime we're just gonna run regular routes. If we run regular routes, it just ends up being the same thing. And, you know, the only time it changes if two comes flat. If two comes flat, the corner he settles off, and the safety knows, now I've got to inherit number one. And that takes a little coaching, because you gotta get in a position to and that ends up an inside run, man-to-man technique.
And if they run a deep out, then kind of the bandit's got to take the deep out.
Yeah, he does, and we work on that. If he breaks out, then we wanna run to angles again. If he's already beaten me out there, cause he's got me by alignment, I've gotta get to an angle that I can make a play. And then we're gonna throw in that bench alert. We tell them anytime. Do they have to do it? No, but we're alerting ourselves. That's why we call it bench alert.
What drills do you do for the backers to work their wall in and all that stuff?
The linebacker coaches, they work, you know, they'll be sitting, reading, they read pass, and they work And like I say, we found that, as, let's say it's a wheelbacker, as this guy's coming and he comes across, we would rather be inside of that thing. Too many times they wanna turn and try to, they end up being head up on the receiver, and this guy, he's got a two-way go now. So we tell them, be patient, wait on it, and set up on it. Now, and you're inside, so you know if he's probably gonna try to escape you, he's gonna escape this way, so be ready for it. And try to, you know, and we try to get with it, and so we do the thing where some of those guys can, those younger kids, they can just wall the crap out of them, and they don't ever go. So then we'll put a real good receiver up there, and we say, you get by. And so now, we're telling him, hey, that back is away, inside cut, you've got him. So now we're working on that, he's walling, that guy gets away, and he's gotta turn and run. Sometimes we get it inside, and here they come, and we wanna end up, sometimes they don't even get a piece of them, but we wanna get a position where we can run with that guy.
And he's always turning to the inside.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if the ball's here, I read my run pass key, I get a pass key, I open up, and here he comes off. Now we tell him, be patient. Be patient, don't jump out there, don't think you gotta go get that guy. Now, when he opens up, if he's going vertical, I am starting to go with him, but if I see a break coming, just sit down and be patient, let him come to you.
I think one thing that helps is we have problems with the slot receivers running the post. But we were telling our Will and our Sam to just wall to like 12 yards.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, we tell them to run, you know, run with it, and keep on going, and then if
so you're real susceptible to quarterback run or screens,
right.
or
So, anyway, it's just a progression, you know, and then because these two guys already know how to play that under route, so when we put cover 5 in, that 2 deep man under, it's an easy deal.
so nothing really changes for
No,
them.
it doesn't, in fact, it's easier because the corner doesn't have to look and see what 2 does. So he knows I'm just staying under. So that's an easy deal. I will say, this is, another thing that you can do with that 5. We used to do it more than we did at Cleveland, but, and it's real good in 7-on-7.
Oh, how do you do 5 in trips? Actually, after you
Okay.
show me this, well, show us this first, and then.
All right, so, you know, here we're gonna play 5. We know these guys are gonna do that. And instead of, if boy, they're hurting you, where they're getting loose and they're coming loose underneath, then we could go 5 robber. And that way we're gonna backpedal and get to the middle, and he's gonna set up in the middle.
I've heard it,
We're-
and he
we're
takes the
gonna
first
rob
cross.
that, and now these guys are catching, you know, they're under, and now he's just sitting, waiting for something to come. You're a little bit more susceptible on the outside, you know, but again, that's if they're hurting you inside. And like I say, we didn't ever do it at Cleveland, but we did it at other places where we'd play 5 robber. And again, it was always the Raider, it was gonna be the robber, so there was no question. He was always gonna be the deep guy. And we tell those safeties, boy, you lock in on quarterback, and you do that Tennessee hash drill, that hand comes off where his eyes are looking, you break hard, you know, try to see the route that's coming, and go get it.
How do you play 5 to trips?
That's a thing that's kinda problem. We don't. You can, I'll show you what we used to do, and I just thought it was too much a giveaway, so we just never did do it here, but let's say strong.
Or you can just bring your wheel over.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did now, but, you know, we were gonna leave this guy. Now, what we ended up doing was playing cover 4 on this side and playing, 5, playing 5 here, and we brought this guy over. Now, you can, if it's fine, you can call strength away from, you know, that puts him a little bit closer, you know, and let Mike kind of cover up for him a little bit. But I thought we were too susceptible, to run, and so we didn't ever do it much, but that was what we did. We brought Will over, and we were gonna play him as a force on this side. He was gonna rob all the inside cuts, and we were gonna stay over the top and undercover all those guys. And again, if the back comes out this way, Mike's got it, that's not a real good thing. That's not a real positive plus, but that was how we did it.
And you wouldn't necessarily play 5 to empty either.
No, no, because that takes Mike, you have to put Mike out of the box, and a lot of people, they'll go empty because they want a quarterback draw, they won't run that quarterback, so we just never were gonna do that. In fact, we just had an automatic check. If it was empty, we were fixing we were gonna play 2 stay, and stay cover 2 across the board, or $2, you know, to the 3 receiver side, depending on what the team did, you know. But it's just, you know, I hope you're saying it, it's just a lot of repeat. It's just this stuff over and over and over and over, and it's not like, well, we're gonna throw a new wrinkle at them today, you know. I mean, it's the same stuff that you just hit them with, hit them with, and they do it 10,000 times, and they get where they can, you know, play it pretty good. So, and that's it. You know, like I said earlier when we started, we want to make it as simple, but yet have enough change up to it that we could adapt, adjust, you know, and not be locked into something and they just killing us with it, and we don't have any other answer. We don't have anything else to do. So we want to be simple, but yet have enough variety, enough ability to adjust, particularly in the secondary. That front pretty much was going to be what it is, unless we called strong and there was a tight end and 2 receivers. You know, I mean, that was going to be automatic cheat check. Well, we're going to check cheat to that no matter what.
How were you guys, because in Cleveland, you guys were going to be better than most teams you played. There were some teams that were going to be pretty equal to how you guys were. But how were you in Texas whenever you were playing against these teams that had just crazy talent?
We found out, you know, that, for instance, Permian was kind of known for detail. I mean, kids were going to play to detail. I mean, they were going to play this stuff. It's been tweaked a little because the game's changed. The game is much more spread out, so it's been tweaked a little. But the basic fundamentals were so much the same that those kids were so fundamentally sound that they could play against people that were better and still win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the idea was we're not going to make mistakes. they're gonna make mistakes, and we're gonna capitalize when they make a mistake. And so we just gotta play our game, and we gotta hang in there. They may make some yardage, they make a play here or there, but we just gotta hang in there and play our game. Make them make the mistake, and then, let the offense go, and so that was the mentality of it. And, all those places that I was, those kids, they got so, mentally strong with what they were doing, they thought they could whip the world, and, I even saw it at Cleveland. A lot of the positions that we had weren't real great players, some of them were. Now, we did have some players, no doubt. But they found a way, because we did it over and over and over and over, they just got where they were pretty good, and,
It was just reaction.
yeah, and it got where they didn't have to think. When motion came, if motion came weak, they knew we're rolling. That was a given, and those safeties knew they were gonna call something, and it didn't matter, just call it, I don't care if they call cut two, if they call dollar, whatever, but let's just be lined up in something we can play with. We knew if we got motion strong, we weren't doing anything, because we weren't rolling. Now, we may be checking to robber, we may be making checks, you might see those guys, robber, we're giving them the mass sign, and they knew how to do that, and because they had done it over and over and over. And so, like Mayfield, man, they line up one day and all of a sudden, looks like 20 people are shifting, That didn't bother us. One, we practiced it, and two, we knew what we were gonna adjust, what our check was if they did this, or what, and it was generally the same thing, So, they gained confidence through many repetitions, and not a lot of variation in what they're doing, Just enough, I think, to change up what the offense was seeing. There's enough variation that you can, are we calling strength to it, or are we calling strength away from it, and the reaction to it was different in the secondary, so, but it was, we did this from day one. Even that first year, we weren't very good, but they got better. They got this bunch of sophomores, really, and boy, they grew. They grew. That helped them a bunch, because especially when we got into a district, because we were having to play, Cibola, we haven't played Rio Rancho, back, West Mesa was in there, and, Volcano Vista was in there, and now all of a sudden those sophomores that probably should have been on JV, were up there with the big boys, but boy, they gained confidence, even though they got beaten most of those games. They gained confidence because they were doing the same thing. Very seldom did you see somebody out there just, you can tell when they, that deer in the headlight look, like, what in the hell am I doing? Because they'd seen it. And I think that a big key was practice. We tried to make practice as game-like as we could possibly make it. One thing I did, and it took me a lot of time, but I felt really strong about it. When we were making our practice cards, like for the scout offense to run against, now Huddle does that, right? But anyway, let's say it was that, you know, that, what was it, Belen? Let's say you lined up in this deal here. And let's say we lined up in Cheat. Now, it got to be where I wanted, boy, my eye is burning like that. When we were making those, like run cards,